154 million Filipinos suffer from depression. 877,000 die due to suicide every year. This is a high frequency of mental illness, so why are we still afraid to talk about it? There are a lot of issues we want to address and want to be heard. We do fundraisers and more. We celebrate activities for heart disease, cancers, and many other illnesses. And while all of these are important, you often forget or don't realize that mental illness is among the number one cause of disability in different countries. Depression is the number one cause of disability worldwide. Suicide continues to rise among adults, adolescents, and even children, yet we are still not courageous enough to talk about mental illness. So why? Good day everyone. Today we will be talking about mental health as well as the depression and how important it is to talk for us to talk about it, especially to you my fellow youngsters. So what is mental health? So according to World Health Organizations, they define mental health as how a person thinks, acts, or feels in any given situation. So it is not just the absence of mental health disorder, but how we see ourselves and others, as well as how we handle our everyday problems. So it is our feelings, our thinking, our emotion, and our moods. So feeling down, angry, or stressed, it is normal. Actually, it is just like when we are happy or confident or inspired, because we have negative and positive emotion and that they come and go based on what we do every day. The most important thing is that we know how to handle them. So, what is mental illness? A mental illness is a broad term, that encompasses a wide variety of conditions that affect the way you feel and think. It can also affect your ability to get through a day-to-day life. Mental illness can be influenced by several different factors, including genetics, environment, daily habits, and biology. So, the cultural belief of Filipino vary in almost every respect. One of the popular beliefs is that depression and anxiety are non-existent and that mental illness are something to be ashamed of. Diba, as we have noticed here in the Philippines, dili kayo na to gina-tackle or kanang gina-open up about mental illnesses and kanang mga ang people nga ga-suffer sa mental illnesses is mahadlok sila or nga mag-open up especially to their parents, because lagi ang i-react sa parents is depression unsa na siya o ira kay ka nga na bitaw nga super sensitive ra daw mag-react sa mga butang ingana ra nga butang ingana dayon ang i-react, so kana bitaw. And then kanang if kanang ma-diagnose ka nga na kay mental disorder is ginakaulaw na dayon ka sa parents and kina-neglect, which is wrong, because kanang love and support from the family is the very important thing na kailangan sa mga tao or mga anak nga ga-suffer sa mental illness. So there are a lot of different types, there are a lot of mental illness, but these are some of the very common mental illnesses na madungga nato or mabasa nato, which ganang depression, kabalo naman taon sa ng depression, anxiety, kanang OCD or katong mga perfectionist nga kanang ma-trigger sila og kanang naay mga kanang disorganized nga mga things, bipolar disorder or katong maglahi-lahi atong mood every minute, every seconds, PSTD or the post-traumatic disorder, schizophrenia or katong mga nag-hallucinate or imagine sa mga butang nga in reality wala ga kahitabo, and personality disorder. So there are a lot, but those are the common lang. A qualitative study conducted by Tanaka et al. In 2018 showed that this stigma is considered to be an effect of the public belief about mental health disorders, which consist of 3 themes. Number 1 is familiar problems, diba, as we have noticed nang tanan nga gakahitabo sa community is go-start na siya sa family, whereas sa case sa mental illnesses gasugod ang kanang pag-neglect sa kanang mga naay mental illnesses sa sulod sa balay or sa family, wherein gina-reject or gina-disown nila ang family members nga gasuffer sa mental disorder because they believe nga ma-inherit daw na or kanang ginakaulaw nila kay lagi na sila family nga part of the family nga buang. So kanang ang ila puguna-una is ang mahuna-hunaan sa iban sa ilaha is kanang pamilya sila sa mga buang ana, kanang kakahadlok sila, so ginakaulaw nila ilang kanang anak or kanang member sa family nga na ay mental disorder. Number two is unrealistic pessimism and optimism, where the severity of the disorder wherein the mentally ill either would certainly suffer from a severe functional impairment or would be able to overcome in any physiological suffering by themselves. So kanin siyang ga-suffer of mental illness nga gaka-severe siya, nga gaka-severe hangtod na lang good sa mag-worse jud siya or na-overcome nila without the help of others. And the oversimplified chronic courses, or when the people without mental illness apply an acute illness model to those ill, no, and they is expect nga kanang dali lang maka-recover or short term na ang recovery sa ga-suffer sa mental illness, which is wrong because dugay jud siya. So consequently, mental illness has become the third most common disability in the Philippines, wherein 6 million Filipinos live with depression and anxiety. Because of this, the country has the third highest rate of mental disorders in West Pacific. So imagine, this was the third common causes of disability in the Philippines, yet a lot of people still don't believe that depression and mental illnesses is real. Nga kanang dara daw kaayo na sila. No, because of this stigma, mental health had been given a very little attention in the Philippines, no, and public sectors, even after the country has recently passed its first Mental Health Act and universal healthcare law, only 5% of the healthcare expenditure is directed towards mental health. Also, there are only 7.76 hospital beds and 0.41 psychiatrists per 100,000 people. So here in the Philippines, wala jud kay ginatagaan og atensyon sa government ang mental health. So that's why gaka-worse ang mental health cases and disorders, and it is continuously rising kay kulang kay pakaita sa hospitals, kulang pa jud sa mga psychiatrists, which is one nga makatabang kaayo when it comes to mental illnesses. So we hope and pray that the government to the next administrations, no, ma-address og matagaan nila action nga mga issues, because this is very serious jud. So we all hope for the best. So, among Filipino children aged 5 to 15, 10% to 15% are affected by mental health problems. So, even kids are experiencing mental health problems. This may be caused by parents who are always fighting, verbal abuse, or lack of guidance or trauma from what was happened to them. And parents often not notice this, no, and just think nga mura jud na akong anak, uy dungol jud kay na siya ana, or na mga behavioral issues, but dili nila mabantayan nga naa na di ay mental health problems ang ilang mga anak, and it may become worse as he grew up if dili manoticed. So according to World Health Organizations, 16.8% of Filipino students aged 13 to 17 have attempted suicide at least once within a year before the 2015 Global School-Based Student Health Survey. So imagine this, at this age 13 to 17, no, mga high school pa ni, already had suicidal thoughts, and worse, they really commit suicide. This study was in 2015 pa. How much more now that we experience this pandemic, will become one of the reasons why people suffer from different mental health problems. So admit it or not, at one point of our lives we once have suicidal thoughts, no, and the worst moment of our lives we think that what if mawala na lang ko sa kalibutan, no, siguro mas mo happy sila or mugaan ilang kanang situations, or kinsa ka ang makahinumdum sa kuha ba, o mamatay na ako, or mamatay, gusto ko na lang mamatay ana, bitaw nga mga thoughts. Sometimes we take it as a joke na lang, or kanang ginabaliwala lang naton nga di ba naka-experience pud mo mga nga musurod na diretso sa inyong mind, then mawala ra pud kalit ana, musulod-sulod ra siya, no. And dili na to ginamind, but this is serious because this means that we are not mentally healthy, because hunang-hunaan na to na siya nga mga thoughts, no, and we really need help. The problem is that we don't know where to open up, na dili ta i-judge, nga dili ta katawan, or then willing sila to listen to this kind of matters. So kana. So next, let's proceed to depression. So what is depression? It is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest at anything, no? So kanang dili na ta, wala na ta gana mabuhat sa mga butang, even katong mga butang nga we used to love, no? Wala na tay gana sa maski unsa nga butang. Gakadaw na lang tatanan nga ginabuhat na to is kaka-failure, and it makes it worse. So in low income countries such as the Philippines, no, depression is also a leading cause of disability. A report released by World Health Organization has estimated that the overall prevalence of depression in the Philippines is 3.3%, suggesting that about 3.3 million Filipinos are experiencing depressive symptoms based on the 2015 population, and also ranked as the 8th single largest cause of disability in the country. So, COVID-19. The pandemic has completely changed young people's life, disrupting school and daily routines, worrying about their safety, being unable to see friends and family, and fears about their future have contributed to an increase of child mental health problems, from anxiety to agoraphobia and PSD. So daghan kay nakakahitabo diri sa pagsugod sa kanang COVID-19 or this pandemic, no, nga naka-create sa ato og depression, dili lang sa ato ang online school, sa ato pong financial problems, sa gakahitabo sa kalibutan, no, sa tanan-tanan, no, gaka-stress jud ta. So researchers found that 46% of 977 parents of teens said that their child has shown signs of a new or worsening mental health condition since the start of the pandemic. More parents or teen girls than parents of teen boys reported an increase in anxiety and worry or depression or sadness, no? Mas taas ang cases sa girls kaysa sa teen boys. So peer groups and social interactions are critical part of development during adolescence, but these opportunities have been limited during the pandemic. Many teens feel frustrated, anxious, and disconnected due to social distancing and missing usual social outlets like sports, extracurricular activities, and hanging out with friends. So, how school contributes to mental health issues? Whether we admit it or not, no, na makakontribute ang school when it comes to mental health issues. So, while school offers many benefits to adolescents, such as connecting with peers, overscheduling and academic pressure can be a significant source of stress, contributing to mental health issues, including teen depression. No, kanang mga activities nga nagkasampaw-sampaw na, katong face-to-face pa, nga wala na kabalo ang students ug unsa alahang unahon. And also academic pressure nga dili lang nila no makuha sa ilahang parents, but also for sa tanan nga people around them, nga kanang mahadlok na sila nga ma-disappoint ang people, ang mga tao sa ilahang palibot, kay unsa na lang una-unaon, di ba, nga if ma-disappoint, which is maka-cause og stress and worse depression, no. Another causes of mental health nga makuha nato sa school is the bullying verbally, dili lang physically, kay as I have noticed, no, I think kanang mas daghan jud ang gaka-experience og bullying verbally kaysa sa physically. Dili lang nato mabantayan, dili lang nato ma-realize nga nang bully na di ay ta verbally. Also financial problems, peer pressure, mga terror ng mga teachers, admit it or not, diba? Exams and quizzes, failed subjects, and growing social media. So how do online classes impact mental health, no? Nang online classes really affected mental health, di ba? Katong face-to-face pagani na natay ka-experience nga stress, even depression, how much more nga nang kalitratag shift sa online classes or nang online classes, which is kanang wala pa jud nato na experience, no? So nagkadubli na ang atong stress and depression nga ka-experience. So online class affect mental health, not just students but also parents and teachers, and also for individuals who have existing mental health problems, gaka-worse siya. So imagine imagine how it is like to a child who spent hours in day in front of computers without social interaction and playtime with their friends. Parents are now acting like teachers and more involved to the students' schoolwork rather than kanang teachers, and the teachers and the professors have increased workloads and are pressured to deliver quality learning without face-to-face classes, no? Especially katong mga teachers nga ga-suffer sila or ga-kalisdan sila og kanang adapt sa new technologies to have or to give quality gyapon nga learning sa mga students. So how do online classes impact mental health, no? So daghan kayong mga impact nga gaka-create ang online classes, not just online classes but also modular and the combination of modular and online classes. Number one is virtual fatigue. No, kanang dili na taga ka gaka wala na taga na or wala na tag motivation, lack of interaction and social isolation nga dala na lang ta perminti sa balay, wala na tay dili na ta malingaw, sige na lang og answer sa mga modules, no, wala na tay interactions sa atong mga friends, increased anxiety and stress, and also parents mental health gets affected too, and even teachers and faculty get stressed out too. So sa nga pandemic, which is the online class and modular, no, dili lang ang students ang ga-suffer but also the parents and the teachers. So what are the possible symptoms of depression for teen students, no? These are the possible kanang mabantayan nato nga naana di ay depression ang mga students. Number one is difficulty in concentrating that can lead to a poor work and performance on exams and assignments, difficulty in planning and organizing and executing tasks, which can lead to missing deadlines and not completing papers as assigned. Also, hypersensitivity, which can easily hurt feelings, crying, and anger at school, which can lead to unhealthy social interactions among teachers and peers, and even suspensions and exclusion from school. Also, inattention can also lead to distractibility and restlessness. Forgetfulness that can lead to not turning the assignment on time, gakalimtan ta. Then decrease in self-esteem and low feeling of self-worth, which can result to frequent absence from the school and feeling of rejection from peers and isolation. Also, the negative self-perception can lead to pessimism and suicidal thoughts, and frequent depressed mood can lead to substance abuse, addiction, sexual activity, and other risky impulsive behavior. So if namoy mabantayan nga sa kaninga mga symptoms, no, possibility or even kamo if naani kamo mabantayan niya ing ani sa inyo ha, possible nga ga suffer mo from depression. Dili siya as in worse nga depression but namoy kanang symptoms of depression. So why does mental health matters in school? Addressing mental health needs in school is critically important because 1 in 5 children and youth have a diagnosable emotional behavior or mental health disorder, as what I have said earlier, and in 1 in 10 young people have a mental health challenge, and that is severe enough to impair how they function at home, school, or in the community. So being able to recognize and support kids' mental health in schools matters because mental health problems are common and often develop during childhood and adolescence. So it really matters at school because we, as I have said earlier, no, nang nagugol na to nang most of our times gikan pa elementary to high school sa sulod sa eskwelahan. So it really matters kanang mga mental health problems, and they are treatable, and isa sa mga makatabang sa atua is mga guidance counselors and teachers. If dili ka ng kaning mga problems gina-neglect lang sa sulod sa balay sa mga students, and early detection and intervention strategies. So it is really important, no, sa school to have kanang early detection of mental health problems and give different strategies and interventions to kanang help students suffer from mental health problems, so they can improve resilience and the ability to succeed in school and in life. So what can a school do about this matter, which is the mental health problems, illnesses, disorders? So for educators are often first to notice the mental health problems. Here are the ways you can help students and their families. Kay, di ba? As I've said earlier, elementary to high school, we spend more time at school rather than at home. So if you have noticed a child experiencing a mental health problem, do not hesitate to talk to them, because sila, maulaw po na sila sa mga teachers nga mag-approach og una. So, educators should know the warning signs of mental health problems and also whom to turn to, such as the principals of school, the nurses, school psychiatrists or psychologists, or school social worker if you have questions or concerns about the student's behavior, kasi sila man ang makabantay og unsa ang mga behavior nga ginapakita sa students and how to access crisis support and other mental health services. So what educators should look for students' behavior? No, consult with a school counselor, nurse, and administrators and students, parents if you observe one or more of the following behaviors, no? Kaning mga behaviors is mao po ni siya ang mga kanang symptoms nga ang students na ay mental health problems, kanang students nga they are feeling sad or withdrawn and more than 2 weeks. They are seriously trying to harm oneself or making plans to do so. Also sudden overwhelming fear for no reason and sometimes racing heart and fast breathing. Also involvement in many fights and desire to hurt others badly. Also severe out of control of behavior of oneself and to others. Not eating and throwing up and using laxatives to make oneself lose weight. The intense worries or fears to get away of daily activities. Also extreme difficulty concentrating or staying still that puts the student in physical danger or causes problems in the school. Also repeated use of drugs and alcohol. Severe mood swings and cause problems in relationship and drastic changes in students' behavior or personality. So kung kita ng mga even kita nga mga naay friends, no, if mabantayan nato ni siya, possible nga naay kanang sign or symptoms ang student nga gasuffer siya sa mental illnesses, and we really need to help them, listen to them, give advice to them, no, and kanang involve them sa mga activities nga nang makamaayo sa ila, dili nga i-tolerate pa nato siya or pasagdan sila sa ilahang ka-experience. Now, what educators can do in the classroom and in school? A whole school approach involves everyone, the school leaders, teachers, staff, and parents, to embed a safe and inclusive learning cultures and environment, including number 1, providing social and emotional skill programs for the students. Also provide timely support for those who has additional needs. No, katujud na atong mabuntayan nga naadjud sila kanang needs, kanang special needs or tagaan jud sila dako nga attention bitaw rather than sa uman nga mga students, and involving students and family in decision making. So in school, dili lang nga tanan teachers and administrators lang ang mag-decide, no, kailangan ato pong i-involve ang students and the parents because sila ba ang ato ang ginatudluan. So then resilience building for students, no. Resilience is the ability to cope with and thrive in the face of negative events, challenges, or adversity. It is a skill that can be developed through. So we need to help build the students' resilience through positive social connections, no. Ipa-feel na to as a teacher sa ilaha or parents or friends nga they are important, that kanang ilang ka-experience, dili na siya basta-basta, dili na to sila katawan bitaw, and give them safe environment nga free from fear, free from worries, no, nang make them feel nga kanang they are loved and dili lang nga ginatudluan lang sila or kanang gatudlo lang ang kanang teacher. Also life skills such as positive coping and problem solving skills, no, and also pro social values, positive self regard about nang kanang the wellness of self, kanang ipa-feel sa ilahang kanang importante not just physically but also mentally, and the sense of purpose and agency or responsibility. So there are many whole school approaches that can be used to embed a culture of well-being, mental health, and enhance resilience. When a culture of well-being is prioritized across the whole school and community, positive social norms and behaviors are built between leaders, school staff, teachers and educators and students, and a sense of belongingness and inclusivity is woven through everything that school already does. So you can foster a friendly, respectful, and inclusive environment for the students, implement a positive approach to behavior management, establish proactive policies addressing well-being and inclusion, provide opportunities for students participation and leadership, fostering strong partnership with students, parents, carriers, community, and service providers. No, we can do this kanang mga activities for our students for them nga makatabang sa ilaha to kanang further mental health problems, no, kanang malesen or kanang dili nila ma-experience ang mga mental problems at school. So developing effective school mental health programs. So efforts to care for the emotional well-being of children and youth can extend beyond the classroom and into entire school-based mental health programs can focus on promoting mental wellness, preventing mental health problems, and providing treatments such as promote a healthy and social and emotional development to all children and the youth. Recognize the young people that are at risk or are experiencing mental health problems, no, talk to them and help them. Identify how to intervene early and appropriately when there are problems. Dili nga kanang pabayan ra nato sila. So kailangan nato sila tabangan. So to really put well-being at your heart or school, arrange a wellness week in your school. This will benefit both staff and students alike. For your wellness week, you could, number one, encourage connections to get students to talk to each other and interact with people they wouldn't usually talk to. Number two is host a sports activities. No? Kanang exercise is known to boost endorphins, so make use of this to get students and staff involved to range of activities and encourage students to set themselves goals so they get a great self-esteem boost when they achieve it. Number three is give to others. No, organize a charity event and then donate the proceeds to mental health charities, because giving to others is known to reduce stress and improve emotional well-being. And be mindful, host sessions and create a calming environment schools that can have symposiums about mental health. Pwede ta maka-create og symposiums about mental health and depression for the students to be able to inform them on how important these issues is. You can also do an open forum to let your students share their thoughts, feelings, anger. This is a great start for them to be open about their problems and mental health issues. So, a positive school culture have been associated with positive child and youth development, effective risk prevention and health promotion efforts, will extensive evidence for the impact of students' mental health, interventions which focus on social cultural elements of life and which involves students actively in the process, are increasingly understood to be important for the students' mental health promotion. So that's it for my kanang topic. So thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something